for words. Hi, Mr. Chairman.
Everyone's here now?
Matt and I got sued today.
And I get sued, huh?
Yeah, from CDR.
I never signed the contract. I don't know why I got sued.
They like you.
And the MEC, I think, got sued as well.
You're kidding.
And the MEC even paid all their bills, so I guess they're suing them for lost future revenue or something.
Okay, Matt, why don't you give us an update?
All right. Things are actually really progressing right now. The major issue that we were having with the glass, the windows and stuff, you should be happy.
That plywood's not permanent?
Might be. They got the hint when we didn't pay their invoice, I believe, because all of a sudden it came out and they started installing all the metal frames. And the window company now was out on Monday measuring it, and he has told Mike that he believes he should be able to have the glass ready for installation within 10 business days, and hopefully get it installed shortly after that.
So this is a good 30 days quicker than they anticipated.
Yes.
Super. Hey, good news.
So that's a huge plus right now, but it's also a problem because we just still don't have the HVAC installed. So once we put the glass in,
It's gonna get hot.
and it's going to get really hot. Plus, they want to start plastering, so it's going to get unbearably hot. So we're trying to coordinate getting the pad work done for the HVAC, which would seem like it'd be simple, but we're redoing work we've done because a lot of reasons, but main reason why is tower went up.
I saw the tower, yeah.
We had a meeting of the minds from Motorola, Signet, radio company, and we also had ICC, which is tower installer, and basically we told them that there wasn't a ground ring, and they said it would never pass the 56 inspection, the audit, and if it doesn't pass, they're not going to necessarily warranty all this, $1 million worth of equipment. So it became we have to get this ground ring put in. It stated on the documents, there's a detail stating that Griffin owned a ground ring. There was back and forth because Griffin stated since there was no original lightning protection design, that was just a sketch on the drawing that didn't matter. So they refused to do it. In the beginning, we fought them on it. They refused to do it, so we asked them for a credit, which they never did. Long story short, we're digging up work we've already done to run a trench for a conduit, or for the grounding wire that they're supplying now, but we're installing. Or they're basically laying in the trench, but we have to terminate everything. So now we have to get a whole trench around the entire building. If you've been up there, you'll see that. We also, while we were doing this, decided since we're still trying to get this solar carports, might as well run the conduit now before we start backfilling everything, and they had to go underneath the generator or the HVAC pad. So right now on the site, we have a lot of trenches. We have probably a third of the way trenched for the ground ring. That's the 4-aught cable. We have a pathway from the rear of the electric room to in front of the tower with 4 conduits for future solar. We've been digging. We've had 7 days of hammering with a large ram on an excavator, trying to get space for the septic tank to go in because it's all ledge. So 7 days into it, we're finally almost done. But once we get that hole dug, we're gonna backfill it because we don't have the rights still. But we want to get that done because I want to get the machines turned back in because they're very expensive to be leasing. So we're still working in the stormwater, but we're really falling behind a lot with the site work. We can't keep up. I lost my employee, so right now I have a second employee trying to do the site work. He's great at digging, but doesn't have the expertise on how to lay it out. One thing I've been talking with Mr. Cresta about is trying to figure out if we could have some sort of agreement to have them perform the site work at a agreed upon hourly rate instead of, because we're paying we have to pay prevailing wage is what his people have to pay. We're trying to work up on what his profit would be on it and trying to go back and forth. Mike has offered as a cost savings thing, regardless, as he's bringing his equipment back and letting me turn in the stuff we've been renting, and he's going to charge us approximately half what I'm paying right now to try to help us save money because he has some equipment that he said he'd be willing to work with us on. So once I have an agreed upon number with Mike, I was gonna approach Jack to see, just to expedite getting this work done, because we can't get it done as fast as a crew of people can do it. And we're also starting to hold them up on the inside because they need binder down on the ground. They need a lot of work. So trying to come up with a way that it doesn't hurt much and have it done much faster. So that's where I'm at with site work. Tower's installed. Still has some work to be done on it. None of the electrical's done. They started the ice bridge. The building inside, it looks like a building now. Most all the walls have drywall up on one side, so you actually can kind of see, visualize what's going on. The trades have been all plugging away. Sprinkler fitters tried to do a hydrostatic test yesterday and discovered that there is a leak underground, which was a crisis averted somewhat today because we thought we were going to have a major problem. Thank God for the water department, Al Finney and forget the other gentleman's name, Paul. They really helped out a lot, and they averted a crisis. They helped dial it in, so I very much appreciate it. And they're out there right now because we had the contractor that tied in the fire hydrant. Long story short, there's two issues going on. It's being resolved under warranty. But so inside the building, HVAC's going up, the electrical's flying up, plastering, the drywall's going up, the plumbers everything's happening right now, so we're moving. But we definitely have to get the HVAC installed as soon as possible, so the pad needs to go. The generators are supposed to be on site soon.
Did you tell them that they're on strike?
Oh, that's right. That's the other issue, is the local 17, who is the HVAC installer, not the refrigeration, but all the ductwork and everything, they're on strike, so we can't do anything with that right now.
They're on strike all over the state, not just our project.
Yeah.
They've closed down hundreds and hundreds of projects, mostly school projects, because they know that they have you,
Yeah.
right?
Deadlines, yeah.
And all the schools have to open by September. And the latest word that we just received today, they're not coming back until the end of August, at the very minimum.
Wow.
It hurts, because without air conditioning, we can't start installing finishes, obviously. I've been in constant contact with the architect about it. And so we're trying our best to get everything else that we can possibly do around the HVAC work.
What we need to do, though, is get the pad poured and the condensers outside installed, because even if they had all the ductwork, until we have the system up and running, we're kind of in limbo anyway. So that's where our big push. We're trying to work on that next. But that is an issue that the ductwork is being halted as of right now, and there are some.
And based on that, that schedule pushed another month, and Brian and I have been in contact about it. So right now, losing that 3 to 4 weeks pushes us into December. And we don't want to be there. We want to be out of there in October. That's still our goal. That's why we're trying to work together, get the site work done and everything. We want out of there in October. That's whatever it takes to get us to there. That's what we're trying to do. We need to get the police department over there.
But the building is progressing. Besides that, doing a lot of meetings. The MEC's been over there a lot, trying to worry about the build out. Just dealing with some coordination problems, and it's moving right along. So that's the progress update. I don't have a one thing I like to do at these meetings is to get a not to exceed number on the requisition, but I don't have any documents on that, so I can't approach on that whatsoever. I don't know if you want me to continue or I can stop and.
Brian, what'd you?
I think Matt hit
Sure.
the high points. We've been tracking change orders, and I don't have any change orders at this meeting for you to sign.
It's good news.
There's only one change order that's still out, or there's a couple pending. One that's pending was the fire chief's review of the fire alarm system. Had us add an annunciator panel to the MEC dispatch center. It was a request that we sent through the contractors. there's a cost of little over $15,000 for this annunciator panel. It was originally in the project, and the MEC had requested that it be taken out of their space. And when the fire chief reviewed the fire alarm submittal, he requested that it be put back in. So I think the agreement there was the MEC is gonna pick up 50% of the cost, and the town's gonna pick up 50% of the cost. So it's gonna be about 75, I'll have to produce separate change orders to split that expense. I know that also is the change orders that is still out there as a proposal for winter conditions that we have not done anything with. Other than that, the project's moving along.
All right, more to continue, Matt?
We had a productive site meeting today. There's some, we were having some issues with the electrical contractor. Been dealing with a lot of back and forth. They're not following some of the protocol for inspections, and they're also not following some of the protocol for the installation specifications. What I wanted to let you guys know, because we've been fighting back and forth, and there'll be some directives sent out today, hopefully. They're looking for a ongoing change order. They haven't said when they want it to start, but they want $21,081.23 per month for continuing project management.
Continuing.
Project management. They said since the project's not progressing at the rate it should have done, it's costing them money, and they want to have us pay them 21 and change. I, of course, wrote back, there's no way possible we're gonna.
Yeah, I think, so, to that point there that Matt's making, first of all, it's a blanket statement. There's no backup documentation or anything. Look, I've been doing it 37 years. There's no way in hell project management costs $20,000 a month. Okay, that's bull. There's no justification. It's just a blanket statement. They'd have to produce all that documentation. I've already told Matt how, and we'll talk to the finance director. It's a real simple way, checks and balances, that we have at our disposal, that we can actually sit down and see, this is what it costs for materials, this is what they've expended in labor costs on a job. If the two numbers don't exceed what's in there, well, you're gonna have a hard time on that. So,
Plus, we've found plenty of fault on the ECs. They haven't done several things that they were supposed to per specifications, and also there's some code issues going on. So we're not willing to negotiate, but want to give you the heads up that they have sent out that information. They have sent out notification that they're going to be looking for that. Just wanted to give a heads up so it doesn't come out of the blue. So that's going on.
Matt, before you move on, can we just talk a little bit more about them?
Sure.
Well, one thing the town should be extremely proud of is Griffin is known for quite a bit of change orders. All you have to do is ask two towns over, because they're getting crucified right now. We've kept them at bay on this job. The electrical change orders are not tough. The problem that we're having as a team and as an entity is the rhetoric is getting very, it's really bad. So we need to try to rein that back in and get everybody to kind of work together. Granted, Matt has 100 valid points written down about work that's either been done incorrectly or not to the plan and spec. Matt pushes back, going through the architect. If we could get a little bit more direction from the electrical engineer through Brian, that I have some teeth to go after him. You can't just arbitrarily go after him. We need to make sure that what we're saying is accurate. And then once we hit him, and then we can start to extract our pound of flesh. Right now, the tensions are extremely high in the job between the town and the electrical contractor. So I'm trying to settle that down because none of us benefit from that. And the project short out doesn't benefit from that. So we're trying to slow that down. And we had a job meeting earlier when the bill inspector, he wants his answers and he has every right to them. That list is gonna be generated that the town is having issues with. I'll issue it to the electrical contractor and say, you either rectify the issue or you better have a damn good explanation. Once I get those answers, then I'll give it to the architect, and then the electrical engineer can start the way in. And maybe we can just get this thing to calm down a little bit, but it is bad right now.
So, yeah, we've been sending in information, we've been waiting for RDK to respond to kind of back us up per the specifications. Another person who was an unsung hero on this job is Peter Diamond. That man's down there like you wouldn't believe. Most dedicated guy, just amazing, and his heart's truly in it. And we've been having a lot of things sending it in and waiting to hear back because we need RDK to have our back and to make sure to push back because it is, like Mike said, very hostile down there. We've asked to have the foreman removed off the site and have a new one put in. But to date, we're still waiting we're pushing and I need the support. So I understand that the generators are going to be in very soon.
I believe they're coming in Thursday, man.
So that'll be also a big step forward. We did,
Matt asked Brian to weigh in on that.
Generators?
I didn't know on the electrical. Is there any help you can send them?
Well, I'm relying on RDK. You know, they're the authors of the plans and specs. So they're also the ones that interpret and help us to give direction back to the electrical contractor. Yeah, we hired them as a consultant. We didn't author those drawings, so we're gonna respond to what Matt's looking for.
All right, so you're gonna respond to him once he has.
Yeah, sometimes the answers don't come as fast as we want them to. We'll try to get what they're looking for.
Okay.
We did put in provisions for, I already told you about the underground conduits, which was a huge, so right now our big thing we're trying to do is just get the grounding system all set, because right now the different potentials to ground, just because the tower is now a lightning attractor and it could jump over the building, and so that's a big safety thing we're pushing for right now.
We're working on an issue, this goes back a ways, but with the steel company, Mike's company, I'll give you the short version, and Mike and Matt can add more if they want. The steel contractor didn't live up to what they were supposed to do, and so Mike had to go out and bring some other folks in to finish their contract. The original provider made a claim to us for direct payment, and we got our attorneys involved. There was a little snafu in the beginning, but we worked it out, and we think, Cresta handled it right by bringing in a second company. We had a third party involved too that verified that the original work was not sufficient. So our attorney, Dave DeLuca, our attorney, has sent back a response to the demand, and we won't be making a direct payment, nor will we be holding money back from Cresta, because we don't believe they're a filed sub-bidder, or they don't have a contract with us. So
An update on that, Jack? Same night, 9:30, got an email from both attorneys asking for mediation,
oh yeah,
which is what I told them to do 6 months ago.
yeah,
So that was the good news out of that.
okay.
And yeah, just the last thing I wanted to talk about was the RDK CDR. We obviously heard they got served papers. We had documentation of what we felt were incorrect charges and some previous attempts to give us some credits back if we were to stay on. So Jack Todd, Dave DeLuca and myself kind of have been working on trying to come up with a counteroffer because they're asking for $50,000 from us. But we're in the process of trying to counteroffer because they want us to go to mediation, and we're trying to come up with a number that it's not worth going to mediation on and just to be done with them. So that's where we're at with that.
Anything else, Brian?
Well, I know the project's going longer than anticipated, and I had told Matt, and I'll tell you as a committee, that we're looking to suspend our invoicing and then not invoicing you any additional for the extended time period. So I think we'll have to, we've just been sending in monthly invoices, which was for the duration of the project. We'll just look to extend them out. And that's why I was interested in the schedule, because this is probably gonna go for us till the end of the year. So that's what we'll anticipate, for now until the end of the year. So we'll just probably readjust all that invoicing from here forward, but not charge you any additional services.
Because we're down to one last payment application from you.
We'll just suspend it.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Is there a way to get around this sheet metal issue that, can we hire someone else?
No,
File submitter.
no, no.
No, Chief, it's a good idea because we think of that all the time, but unfortunately.
Could be done by Labor Day if we hired somebody
Yeah.
else, right?
If we couldn't, you think we had a problem with the steel guy?
Yeah.
It'd be a big problem because we'd all get sued for that one.
Okay.
We have been supplementing the Griffin's change orders. One thing we've been doing is using the gentleman I use for the town because it's additional work that wasn't inside their scope of work. So we have been trying to supplement to speed things up and also save us money. Things that have been agreed upon by the general contractor, electrical contractor, the architect, stuff that we don't have to give Griffin. We're paying a lot less for. So we are trying to.
It works well. As long as we're all in agreement, the town, they can use that additional contract, as long as it doesn't interfere with the inspection process, and we have the okay from the electrical inspector. As long as we pull a separate permit, he's good. So it helps the town tremendously that way.
So we've been we've had a few items already that we've cut the change order prices down, but we have to be careful because we can't take contract at work. It's just, so we are trying to do those types of things to get this job to go and to try to save us some money. But you can't with this one because of the filed submitter, and it's their work.
I mean, I hate to go down the other path of temporary air conditioning, because that's
Well, they could,
gonna be an expense.
The thing that I'm not too concerned about, the humidity actually works works good with plaster, because it won't let it dry quick. If it's extreme heat, then we'd have surface cracking. So, if we're boarded, if I can stop plastering, yes. Drywall, if you're just doing joint compound, no good. But plaster, it'll help it to slow it down, the curing process, which only makes a better job. So that part is good, and we've been flying. We started Thursday. Both floors are boarded one side. We just have to do the tops, and they're gonna probably start that tomorrow or the next day. And I'll be meeting with the bill inspector tomorrow, just to walk through the sally port again. We'll get that boarded and finish that, and then they can actually start painting, so. That stuff's the exciting stuff, and it's about to happen. It's just we're being pulled back because of this damn strike. And it's just frustrating to all of us, and I'm sure you as well.
it's definitely been a good, everybody's plugging away, trying. It's been a great, it's definitely moving smoother. There's still issues, there's still gonna be change orders.
We're definitely working better as a team, there's no question about it. Everybody's starting to really come together and people are helping each other that normally wouldn't, so it's really nice. It's refreshing.
Trying to keep everybody, besides the EC, it's moving very well together, so. Again, it's not all peachy keen, but it's happening, and if you walked down there right now, it's a different building than the last time you saw it. It looks completely different on the inside now. It's pretty cool. So, silver lining.
Anybody else? No other business?
Motion adjourned.
When's our next meeting?
When do you want it? Today's the 7th, go to the selectmen's meeting on the 4th. You wanna- It's the day after Labor Day.
It's okay by me.
Yes,
By
sir.
me.
Whatever.
I will not be available on the 4th, I know. But I can give you an update.
I don't want to reschedule till you're here.
What about Mike, you have an invoice for,
Do you have any idea?
I will take care of that first thing in the morning.
Do you know what approximately it'll be? Because we can't do anything until next time we meet. Do you have it? Is it 600 or less?
Yeah, I'd say it's somewhere around there. Well, it's right off the schedule of values, it's not like you can make up numbers.
yeah, no, we're trying to figure out a way to vote your number.
How about I make a motion to vote up to $600,000 for the monthly progress payment for the month of July, not to exceed $600,000.
Second?
Second.
Yeah. Any discussion?
Mike, is 600 good?
Yeah, that's all I have to do.
Okay, seems no discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's unanimous.
And we will wait on Brian's authorization to do that.
Yeah, I'll have to, I haven't seen it yet either.
Okay.
I know, I'll let Joe get in touch with you.
Did you want me to address the fire station invoice that we had sent in?
Yes, we had received an invoice. I don't have it. I forgot about that for this meeting. Did you know what the amount was? I can go find out.
I don't.
I think it was. I think we've been invoiced $80,000 for the
In
fire
total-
station.
In total?
So Brian submitted an invoice. I can go get it for design, schematic design. It's I think at 80%, or 80%. And do you guys mind? Why don't I just go grab it real quick and make life a lot easier?
We had sent in a progress payment for the fire station, and it was for invoicing up to the point where we were told to stop. So there was a couple months in there that we were proceeding with the plans in design development. And then we were given a directive to stop. So we just invoiced up to that point. And I think that's what Matt was wanting us to explain. If we were told to stop, how come we're submitting an invoice? We haven't worked on it since you told us to stop.
And what percent have you completed in terms of the design?
That's what I was gonna say, and I think we're in a design development stage, but I think it's only about 25% design development. That's what the invoice will indicate. So there's still a large portion of that still to go, but not to let you think we're gonna keep sending you invoices for the fire station. This one was for work prior.
Mike, are we getting close to having a better understanding of a 5% target on final?
We're getting close this year. I'm sure you, as Brian said, there hasn't been a lot of change orders coming out because of how we're doing things right now and how we're trying to avoid any further issues. We averted one today. It was a team effort between the four of us. And we were able to stop something that could have cost $6,000. It's not almost been eliminated. for nothing. So, it's just that we're really taking the time to reevaluate things and see a different path and try to avoid any further cost overruns, so.
I mean, all that sounds, one of the more optimistic meetings we've had in a long time. But that said, are we still getting close? Because in order to give direction to the architect regarding the fire station, we need to have a little bit more definitive understanding of final costs on the police station.
And I don't want to put words in Mike or Matt's mouths, but I think it's the site work that we need to kind of figure out, and it's that.
We've had
We think we have a resolution to that. It'll be a pretty good thing for the town. Once I
So-
think we get it out, then we sit down, the four of us, and then you can relay it to the board members.
Okay.
And then you guys choose and decide what to do. I don't think you're gonna get it done any other way. And stay within some kind of number.
Okay.
All right, so the question was from Brian about the, we have an invoice now for $36,000, and it's because of progress billing to date, 75% completion of design development phase and 20% of contract document phase. To date, we have been billed $54,000, and now they're looking for $36,000 for contract documents and design development for the fire station.
And if you're interested in, we could back it up with the documents as to what we have to date. So if you want us to upload those documents, you can see them, to see that there's progress made.
Personally, would like to see that.
And
Yeah.
they're dated as to when that work was done, it shows on those documents. And on the bill, it shows that it's dated for,
Yep. So there's quite a bit of a balance to finish on that, too.
The total basic compensation per the agreement, April 5th, 2016, is $360, and to date, if this gets approved,
80.
90.
Yeah. That's why I'm not the finance director anymore.
It's 10 between friends. So do we want to table this until we see the documentation, then vote on it next meeting?
Yes.
Make a motion to table this until we have the documentation.
Well, if we vote to approve it contingent on whoever wants to review the documentation.
Okay.
I'd make a motion to approve the bill contingent on a review of the documentation.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Matt, you want to you can help whoever wants to look at it.
Yes, Mr. Bullock and myself. I'll volunteer him. Mr. Lindmark. Mr. Lehan. Yes, I will, we'll come up with a group review of that. So, we have approval to spend this once we're,
Yes.
okay.
Okay, back to next meeting.
September 4th at 4 o'clock, unless I hear differently.
Well, Brian can't be here.
Oh,
My daughter's getting married.
Oh,
congratulations.
Thank you. Labor Day weekend wedding
good day weekend, wow.
in North Carolina.
North Carolina. Why in North Carolina?
That's where she's living.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good answer. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. So we're traveling back on the 3rd and the 4th.
Yep.
So we do the
11th?
The 11th, or?
What's that?
Are there any questions out there?
Yeah, does anybody in the audience have any questions?
I can't do 4 o'clock on the 11th, just, I have a library director interview, but I don't mind missing, or,
Should be here, Jack.
Back to the 4th or 18th.
Well, what information will be available to us at that time, September 4th? Maybe that Brian doesn't need to be there if we have other information that might not be relative to Brian that we can get updated on. Would that be worth having the meeting on the 4th?
If you want to have it on the 4th, I'll
I mean,
be
is
here. I have no problem.
no, I understand that, but is there value to getting together that we can get updated on some of these loose ends that we talked about here today? Will we have a better understanding?
We'll definitely probably have a better understanding of the site issue.
Can I make the request
Let's
then
hold
that
on.
we have him come up before he goes away? That way, if there's any questions, because usually we get him to come up for these meetings, so and he usually answers a lot of questions. So before you go, can you come up here, please?
Or is there a site meeting?
Well, we'll have a site meeting on the 21st. I have that in my calendar.
28th. That's right. No, it's the 28th, isn't it?
Really, it's every 2 weeks.
21 is 2 weeks from
All
today.
right. All right, screw that
So
up.
we'll set a meeting then for the 4th.
For the 4th, yep, 4 o'clock.
So yes, I will be on, here on the 21st.
Okay. And we will have our meeting on the 4th.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all.
Now we're ready for your motion, Jack.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All's in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 0-0.